if someone would come in and do the or try to, they're also the ones who think, oh, I'm gonna scare the scare actors. And
oh yeah, because that's
and we're like, oh, look out! I'm so scared.
Hi, I'm Noelle, also known as Charge and Die. I'm a professional scare actor. I tell Scareactor Stories as my main content on TikTok and then eventually on YouTube and here on Twitch. I like to interview my fellow scare actors so they get a chance to tell their stories. I have a couple guests with me tonight. Would you like to introduce yourselves?
Hi, so my name is Xandra Amrine. I was a scare actor at Universal Studios Halloween Horror Nights. I had the time of my life there, and in the process, I met my amazing boyfriend through scaring.
My name is Pete Richards. I am a scare actor by mistake, and
That's right, I forgot about that.
Then just ended up falling in love with it, and yeah, I met Xandra, my girlfriend, at Universal. And I also had the time of my life. I thought it was absolutely amazing. And, you know, you get paid to professionally screw with people, which is awesome.
It's amazing.
And yeah.
We're tricksters. It's great.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. So let's talk a little bit how you got started in scare acting. You shared this before. I have interviewed them before. So if anyone's interested in that prior interview, that's on my YouTube channel. But for those who've never met you guys before, how did you get started?
Well, your story's more interesting than mine.
Okay.
So you go first.
Yeah. So my ex at the time was obsessed with Halloween Horror Nights, and she finally decided that she was going to audition. And I didn't really have any interest in it, but you know, she wanted me to go and audition with her as well, just as like a fun thing. I ended up getting it. She did not, fortunately, for, you know, obvious X reasons. My whole motivation originally was, you know, since she was my girlfriend at the time, let me go through the process of getting into this whole thing, try and network with some people, and eventually try and get her in. It didn't really work out, but I ended up just having the time of my life myself, and I made a great group of friends, and Xandra was one of those people in that group of friends, and eventually things with my ex didn't work out, and not too long after, but sometime after.
Yeah.
Long enough after.
Long enough
yes,
after.
It was a good few months.
The timing was perfect.
There. I like that. And you guys just celebrated your anniversary, yeah?
We did.
I
yes,
saw that
yes,
on Instagram.
yesterday.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yesterday we've been together for a year. It's our first year. So.
Good. Yay. Oh, and love comes through scaring.
It does. These people that you spend hours and hours and hours with into the wee hours of the night. It's like, how can you not fall in love?
One of our fondest memories was at Spores.
Yes.
Pressing a button that would squirt people with water in the face.
Yeah.
And it was amazing.
One of our like best memories was just standing there in a position that neither of us were working, but we were just having fun.
We were on break. We were on our break, but we still
wanted
there was a hole to be filled, and
I think that's a testament to just how much we enjoyed our maze and working, was that even on our breaks
we were just like let's go murder some people with this real life video game.
Yeah.
I love that. And you guys worked the Stranger Things maze, yeah?
Yes.
In
so
2019?
I got involved with scare acting in 2018. My best friend and my roommate did Horror Nights, and she was in the Universal Monsters maze. And I had encouraged her to go out for it. She was super hesitant. She was like, oh, I want to audition, but I don't know if I'm capable. And I was like, no, you totally are.
Just do
it. She did. And she ended up being a werewolf queen, which was super awesome. And she came home every single night and told me about how much fun she was having and all the people she was meeting. And she was just having the time of her life. And I will definitely get into more of this later. But in some strange way of life, Stranger Things has become the forefront of my life, between character performance and personal projects and horror nights. I've just been so heavily involved in the world of Stranger Things that it's really become my career. And I started off cosplaying as Joyce Byers the same year my friend was in Horror Nights. And I just loved playing the character, and I really wanted to be Joyce in 2018, the first year they did Stranger Things. But I was still working at another company that we're not going to name. That's a rival of Universal.
Gotcha.
Because, yeah, I was still working there.
They have a mouse problem.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's just taking over everything, isn't it?
Exactly.
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Gotcha.
But I was still there at the time, and I didn't have the luxury of being able to go and work at Horror Nights. But I promised myself the next year I was going to be there, and I was going to be Joyce, and I was going to get this role, and I was going to do every single thing in my power to get that role next year. So when the auditions came around, I was like, okay, I'm ready. I was hesitant about dressing up for the audition, but a good friend of mine had said, no, go and show them that you're committed. You're not doing crazy gore makeup. You're just dressing like a normal person.
You're dressing like character inspired to help them see it. Yeah.
Exactly. I don't normally look like Joyce like this. So having that extra added makeup and stuff, it helped.
Yeah.
And ultimately, when I sat down at my interview after the scaring part in my audition, I just said, hey, I would love to be a part of Stranger Things. If there's a place for me there, this is a really important show to me. I would be grateful for anything, but if there is any way I could be involved in that maze, I would absolutely love to be. And then I was cast as Joyce, and it was the greatest experience of my life. And he was cast as my son, Will, puking in the sink. And we just instantly...
274,000 times.
Is that how much it is?
It was over 2 months. It was 274,000 times that I puked in that sink.
Oh, wow. Glad you're still with us. After all that. Oh, man. Stay hydrated.
No less.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's how I got involved. And it was a dream come true from start to finish.
Yeah, that actually brings up a good point that I don't think I've addressed before, where if you have a specific character in mind, if you have a role you want to play or a zone you want to be in, definitely speak up and let them know, because they want to work with you rather than against you. I told them I would love to do scare zones. I've never done a scare zone for Halloween Horror Nights, but I've done scare zones in other haunts. It's my forte. I love it. Please, can I get that? And then I ended up getting cast in a scare zone. With that said, you're not always going to get what you ask for, but if there is a chance they can do it and they see you as that thing, then yeah, they might do that. Knowing like you're going to be passionate about it too. Like you want to be there. It helps them.
Yeah.
So
many people quit over time. It's like they don't want to keep replacing. If they see that you have the passion, they're going to know you're not going to quit.
If you fit a role, or even slightly fit a role that they're looking for in the area that you want to go into, they'll put you there because they don't want to have to go back to auditions, 2 weeks, 4 weeks, I mean, every 2 weeks they had an audition for people who had left or quit or whatever. And I mean, that's natural for, especially Universal, when they had
it happens
400 of us, people are going to quit.
Yeah. You have to remember, like, this is ultimately a business. And from the business mindset, it takes more time and energy and money to rehire people than just to keep them on. So they're trying to work with you so that you won't leave. But also, if you're not doing your job right, that's costing them money. So
there are certainly people who cause trouble.
Ooh, drama. Want to spill some tea, sis? Let's get to
Should
it.
we tell them about the holidays?
Yes, I got this one.
Yeah.
So,
Okay, I'm getting excited.
Anybody who worked in 2019 of Horror Nights will immediately know what we're talking about.
Okay,
Yeah.
I wasn't there. I was a guest, so yeah.
So, well, as you probably know, every maze had their own day for the potluck.
Yeah.
Well, someone took the pot part of the potluck to heart.
Oh, I remember the story. Okay.
They didn't tell anybody else. There was 3 people who involved that brought pot brownies to the potluck, but didn't tell anybody else that they were pot brownies. And so
that's so bad.
What was it, like 9? No, it was more than that.
It was their entire maze.
It was almost the entire maze. I think 9 people.
We're like, why? While they were on set.
I think it was 9 people went to the hospital because of that. Because they had never had any experience with pot before.
Oh, no.
And all of a sudden they ate some very potent.
And we're like, what the heck is going on?
That's so bad.
Bad. The 3 people that were involved who made or brought whatever the case is, the 3 people that knew about it, they all got arrested.
Well, yeah, that's illegal. That's
food.
Yeah.
No, it's drugging people.
And that too, obviously.
But no, 9 people who had never had experience with pot before, they all, they thought they were gonna die pretty much.
Yeah, because they had no idea what was happening, and that causes real panic, and also puts them in a lot of danger, apart from just like the being high and never have been high before and having that much weed in their system and such a low tolerance. That's dangerous in of itself, but put them in a scare actor maze setting.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Where they're exerting themselves.
They're exerting themselves. There's certain lighting that's going to affect them. They're going to probably like be falling over themselves and getting hurt that way, but also guests. It's a lot. It's a lot. Like, it's a lot to deal with when you're sober and working as a professional, and then you're high and you don't even know why you're feeling the way you're feeling. That's so scary. So,
and that was like the first week.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm glad they got arrested, because that is very much illegal.
Yeah.
And also, you only have to be 18 to work at Halloween Horror Nights, but you have to be like at least 21 to smoke recreationally, I believe, right?
Yeah.
And they have a strict policy at Universal. They go through your bags and stuff before you go into the back lot.
I don't know how they got away with it.
No,
well, because it looks like brownies. That's just it.
Yeah.
They're not going to question it on a potluck day. Don't get any ideas. You will be arrested. This is the point of the story. Don't fight that. Like, just don't bring that stuff on.
Me personally, I'm not a pot person. Mm-hmm. I have had my experiences, and it does not end well for me, to say the least. So if I was in that situation and just, some powdered sugar brownies, it looks like they're from the local grocery store. Okay, cool. And then have like 2 of them and then throw me in there.
Oh God, I'm so glad it was in our maze.
That would have mentally screwed me over for a long time.
Yeah.
So you said this was Holidays in Hell?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I need to talk to my friend Chris, who was in Holidays in Hell, about that and see what his side of the story is. Oh,
Might have, depending on what his experience.
You will have to ask him. Yes.
Depending on his experience with marijuana, he might have had a very fun night that night, or a absolutely terrifying one.
I don't think we've ever actually talked about that. I'm curious.
You will know what we're talking about.
It's not a common conversation topic for me, because I don't do any of that stuff anyway. So
neither do we.
Right. Right.
No, it got so bad. There was a point when we'd be at Scare Base and we'd run into people and be like, "Oh, what maze are you in? Holidays in Hell? Was it? Yes. That was the maze with the brownies. Like, they were so ashamed of it, rightly so. But it was just weird.
Well, it's interesting how quickly things get around. So if you're at, like, especially a theme park with different mazes and everything, or at least Halloween Horror Nights, word spreads fast. I remember
yes, it does.
when I was touched without my consent in a certain way, and security didn't do anything that was there, and it turned into this whole thing where I called, like, the sheriff had to come, and they had to try and find this guy, and this was back in 2018, and they ended up not finding him, but they have a picture of him, and he's apparently banned for life. I don't know if I believe that, but I want to believe that because it was a very traumatizing experience, especially someone with PTSD. So that was not fun, but I did come to work the next day. It was fine. Like, I just got it out of my system, whatever. But literally the next day, I had people that I had never even seen before come up to me and say, "Are you the girl that happened to?" And I was like, "Yeah." They're like, "Oh my God, was it the guy with this shirt on?" I'm like, "You know him?" They were like, "Yeah, he was coming through our maze and touching everyone's masks."
Oh.
And I was like, why was he not caught?
There's always a person doing it to every maze, too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's always the same people.
It's always the same person. And I have no idea why, because he did it to me twice, and they laughed it out and whatever. And I'm just like, wow, you guys are so awful. Please leave me alone forever now. But they were never caught, and I don't know why they were never caught if they're still doing that stuff. But word got around so fast. I didn't think it was that big a deal, because I feel like that kind of stuff happens a lot. It shouldn't happen a lot. No. But stuff like that happens fairly often, and it usually just sticks within the maze itself, and you ask the person, like, "Hey, are you okay?" kind of thing. The fact that specific thing spread to other mazes amazed me. And people came up and said, like, "Are you okay?" Bless their hearts, seriously. They were like, "Are you okay? We heard what happened to you." I'm like, "I don't even know your name. Who are you? Like, how do you know me now?" And I'm that girl. Cool, thanks. But it's amazing how there's this camaraderie amongst all the scare actors, because we all understand.
We look out for each other. We really do.
I remember there was one guy, and this was, further into the run when I started to figure out the dynamics with people and knowing what people are going to do. And I was the first person in the maze, and I had this big mask on with a foam slug and all this. And this one drunk dude came in with a bottle and was just wielding it like, and he came in and he was like, trying, like, about to hit people, but not going to hit people because I hadn't. So well, I hadn't
hate
gone.
People like that.
I hadn't gone.
Don't be the person if you're listening and you think that's me.
Well,
don't.
I hadn't gone for the scare yet, and I knew that this guy, the moment someone went for a scare for him, he was going to just, like, smack him in the face with a bottle. Oh, God. And I had the whole mask on and everything, and I was just like, all right, if he hits me in the face, it's not going to hurt me. I'm the first person in the maze. Let me just... I'll go for the scare for him. I'll have him hit me in the face with the bottle, take one for the team, and then pull myself and get him thrown out. So I went for the scare. Sure enough, slams me in the face with the bottle. Luckily, I kind of aimed it as he was swinging. I was like, go for the big foam thing on my face.
Oh, God.
And he hit that, so it didn't hurt or anything. But, at that point, it was like, okay, now we're gonna go get him thrown out. So that way, hopefully, no one else is going to get slammed in the face with a bottle because, a lot of other people didn't have the luxury of having a...
You were the only person.
I was the only masked person, yeah.
You were.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, good on you for taking one for the team. That's so brave of you, but I feel so bad that you felt you had to in the first place.
Yeah, you never told me about that.
I did. It was a Corona bottle. Yeah.
Jeez.
It was a Corona bottle.
Oh, God.
You must have mentioned it a while ago because I remember that.
I remember in mazes, if there's ever an issue, for those watching, if there's ever an issue, you feel unsafe, whatever, throw out the X,
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Throw the X and leave your set and tell your supervisor and just say, hey, there's a dude. Like for that example, I feel bad that you felt you had to take a hit, because if it were me and I knew that person was coming in, I immediately would have been like, nope, I'm out. Tell supervisor immediately. There's a guy swinging a bottle. That's unsafe. And I truly feel like he's going to hit someone, so please get him out before anything happens.
Yeah.
But it was also your first year, so how are you supposed to know that?
Exactly.
The other thing that was hard with where I was in the maze, I was the first person in the maze.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have a hide. I didn't have an exit. The way I got into the maze was I would have my mask tucked under a sweatshirt, and I'd go in through the front of the maze and get escorted in to do our changes. So the only way for me to exit the maze was straight up just through the front. Like I just walk out in front of everybody. So it took me a little while before I got comfortable with the idea of, okay, I'm going to ruin this illusion for everybody, take my mask off, have it in my hand, wearing my entire costume, because when I would go into Switch, I'd have it underneath a black hoodie, and then we'd go in, we'd make the switch, I'd put the mask on, I'd take the hoodie off, hand it to the other person, they would put it on, and then they would continue walking through about the other quarter of the maze before there was an exit for them.
Mm.
So I never had a clean exit. If I had to make an exit, I'm going out the front in front of
And
everybody.
you would have passed him anyway. Oh, jeez.
So
just
it
throw
took me
that
a
X
while
up.
before I
Be
got-
like, nope, not scaring you. Bye, bro. Get out of here.
Yeah, it took me a while before I got comfortable with just screw it. We're,
Well, desperate
I'm
times
gonna
call for
push.
desperate
I'm
measures.
pushing through all of these people walking the opposite direction. I'm going right out in front.
No, because
and
we always had such a long line too. We
That's
always
true.
had
Yeah, you were the thing talked about that year. Yeah.
Yeah. So our wait was always like 200 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
And there were so many conga lines of just people just staying there. And it got to a point where it's just like that. I think that was my least favorite. Because I never complain about Horror Nights. When I got this job, was like, I'm going to give this my 100% every single night. And I can say with confidence that I did that.
Good.
So I was like, I'm not going to complain about anything as much as I can, but there's something about just standing there and trying to come up with more things to do when you don't have a hide that you can retreat to, and people are just staring at you, and then they do this, and they're like shining their light in your face, and you're like, go away, just keep moving.
That's why whenever it got conged, I just mannequin.
Yeah.
I just stand at that sink and just pretend like I'm a mannequin.
See, and that's the thing with Joyce. It's like, because she's such a complex character, and I did have the luxury of not having to wear a mask, I could really, like, kind of have fun with it and just be like, oh, what are you looking at? Keep going, to people.
Go.
Like, it was fun.
Yeah.
I
also hate conga lines. It's like they're gonna see the scare. There's no surprise to it, but you do have fun with it. That's part of scare acting, though. Is like if you can't scare them, at least make them laugh, entertain them in some way.
Have fun with them.
If you're the kind of character to do so, like you could interact with people in some ways, but I'll always stay in character. Always.
Oh, sometimes I think that's even better than scaring, because you get the people, especially for Stranger Things, who love these characters. And you do get to have like these fun back and forth moments with them, and you're bringing them into the story. And for me, because I care so much about Joyce Byers as a character, and I love playing her and all of her mannerisms.
And that character inside and out. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, she's so fun. And a lot of people who came through the maze saw that and appreciated it. Like they would say things like, oh my gosh, she moves just like her. Oh, look at her face. She just made a Joyce face. Oh, her hands are perfect. Like they noticed that. And it was fun to bring that authenticity to it in a different way, because did I have the scares that I was doing? Yes. but people weren't going through that maze to be scared by Joyce.
Right.
They're going to get scared by the Demodogs, and
which they had too many of.
And stuff like that. So they're not even expecting to get scared by characters like me or him, which made it even more fun because then we had that element of, we'll let our guard down.
Maze host Will was
Maze host Will is
But
iconic.
there's one thing I will say about the conga lines. Because I was at the front of the maze, I did get the conga lines, but I also got the big gaps in between where the person watching the cameras at the front, letting people in, would like hold it and, allow time for people to filter through.
Yeah.
And so I'd go across to the other side of my room and I could see the shadows of people walking in. And it gave me a good 5 seconds at least to get back to my spot. And so I would just to keep my energy up, I was doing like push-ups on the bathtub and things like that. And the person at the front was seeing this and thought that I wasn't paying any attention at all. So the first person that would walk in would be her. And she'd come in like, "Are you ready? Are you good? Like are you paying attention right now?"
Oh, that's
and
sweet.
I'm like, "No, I saw you walk in. I'm back at my height. I tried to scare you because I couldn't see, anything with my mask on." But you're good, you're ready, you're set. Okay, cool. Let me go and start letting people in. So it was really funny.
Oh, that's so sweet of her though. That's really considerate.
Yeah.
We had some great maze hosts that really looked out for us.
We did.
Yeah.
Oh my, I forgot to wish my parents a happy anniversary yesterday. Oopsie poopsie. I just realized what the date was. Same anniversary as you guys, but they've been married for 33 years. So shout out to my parents. I'm going to text my mom later. Oh my God, I can't believe I forgot. Anyway, that's a little internal freak out that I just had. Anyway.
Well, at least you remember now, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Only because I just got a text from her with a picture of their anniversary cake saying, "Oh, your dad and I are celebrating 33 years." It's like, what's the date? Oh no, their anniversary was yesterday.
Of course you are.
But I did send a card earlier, so I did something. Anyway, I'm a good daughter. I swear to God. I'm just the weirdo. Speaking of my parents, I will say this. I probably said this to you. My viewers have heard this all the time, I'm sure. But there was one time where I was talking to my supervisor, and he was asking me, like, "Oh, are you going to continue to scare, like, throughout the year? Or is this just a seasonal thing for you?" I said, "Well, being hired as a scare actor is a seasonal thing, but I feel like I do a good job scaring people throughout the year. You just got to know how to scare. Like, some people would get scared if you pop out of places. For my parents, I just remind them I'm an actor."
Yeah.
And that's scary plenty. Oh, man. There was also another time where... Oh, I love messing with people who come up to you and demand the scare. I hate people like that, but I do
They don't deserve it.
Oh, God. They don't deserve it at that point. Exactly. It's like, I've gotten so many people come up to me in certain roles, and they'll go up and be like, "You are not scary. Scare me then. Do something." It's like putting me on the spot, right? If I were allowed to speak, and I have done this, not at Halloween Horror Nights, but like other haunts that I've worked at, they'd get in my face, be like, "Scare me then." Go boo. I just go, "Taxes. Responsibilities."
That's so great.
Well, that's when, like, when they come up to you and they try and do that, like for me, I had the entire room that I could play with. They'd come up, they would act all hard and tough, "Oh, scare me, man," like, And so you just don't do anything and you wait. And then as they start to exit your room or your area, they always do a double take over their shoulder just to make sure the coast's clear. That's when you're right there in their face. And I
love that one.
I love
that.
Oh,
yeah.
This is scary. Oh, come on, scare me.
The revenge scare. They're my favorite.
Deep down inside, they're completely terrified. And
we can tell when you guys are scared. If you're pulling a brave face, we can tell. So might as well just be scared.
They always do that double take over their shoulder right before they leave, or at least in my room before
No,
they left the bathroom.
They used to do it in mine
They
too.
do that double take, and that's when you are right there in their face because they think that you're on the other side of the room still.
And you don't even have to scare them.
You got on them.
If you're just there, terrified.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they weren't expecting it. Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. I used to do room in the living room, the buyer's living room. If someone would come in and do the or try to, they're also the ones who think, oh, I'm gonna scare the scare actors. And because that's
and
we're like, oh, look out! I'm so scared by you. And then they keep going, and I remember I would just follow them, and just be there, and just make a face at them, and they'd be like, because they wouldn't expect that. They don't know that we're allowed to move.
I was essentially deaf and blind. So if you tried to scare me, I'm not going to hear you nor see you.
Same as the wolf. I had so many people just pop up in front of me and be like, "Boo! Ha! I scared you!" And I'd be left confused, going, "I didn't know you were there. It didn't scare me."
Yeah. What?
Hi and bye, I guess. Yeah. Okay. Bye. There was one time that I got a similar scare to what you're talking about, where I was one of the nurses in the American Horror Story. I believe it's Ragnarok, right, Maze? And not Ragnarok. What am I saying? Roanoke. God, it was an R word, and I thought I said the right word, and then it hit me like I didn't say what I had in my head. Why did I say that? Sorry, Roanoke. I know better. It was just my brain being fried. So Roanoke. I was one of the nurses. I had a monitor, and I had a sheet in front of me. And there was this couple. This woman comes up to the sheet and goes, "Pop out and scare me. I dare you. I know you're there. I know you're going to do it." Ah, da, 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 da. And it was a slow day, so I could take all the time in the world with these folks, right? Mm-hmm. If you demand a scare, I am not going to scare you. You are right there. What am I going to do? Just pop out and be like, "Boo." You know, like, what am I going to do? So the guy was like, "Come on, let's go." And she's like, "Oh, fine. Like, this isn't scary, whatever." They're leaving. As they're leaving, I silently go around the curtain and just stand there with my knife like this, waiting for them to turn around. As they're leaving, the guy is the one who did the double take and like tapped her, and she turns around and she's like, "Ah!" And I charge them and rush them out of my room, which I hadn't done with anyone else, but they deserved that one, you know, like, get out of my room, like, thing. And then I quickly went behind the curtain and waited for the next group to come in, and usually I just like pop out scare. But yeah, no, I did a full sprint at them. They're like, "You're not supposed to do that." What do you mean I'm not supposed to? I scared you, didn't I?
When you start running around and then you chase them out. Oh, yeah. It's the best.
Oh, I would stalk people in my zone. If they were like watching me specifically and I noticed it, I would like go around, watch them go around, and then whenever they were walking, I would be right behind them no matter what direction they were going. I would just like lock on that person and they'd be like, "Stop following me," and I'd be like,
I got a good number of those, like, "You can't." When I was quote unquote maze host Will is what we called him, the idea behind it was I would be in a maze host robe, just the black robe, and I had a flashlight, and it was a like pitch black room, and so I'd flick the flashlight on, and I was supposed to move my head around, and it was supposed to be this like floating head illusion,
which is really weird because that's not in the
it was a last ditch effort to
effort.
But what worked out great was I had a flashlight and I was in a maze host robe, and I had this entire room to myself. So why don't I just act like a maze host, keep my head down, and like shine the flashlight on the floor so that people could, you know, I look like I'm directing people, and then at the last second just pop up with the flashlight into people's faces.
Brilliant.
Oh, I got so many people that were, you're supposed to be on our side. You can't do that.
Oh, yes.
You're not safe here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, and they gave us the same robe that the maze hosts wear.
Yeah. So,
like, I mean, I looked like a maze host with my head down and a flashlight until I popped up into people's faces.
So great.
And it was just, it got pretty much everyone that walked into that room at that point.
I love hearing you talk about scary.
I love hearing you.
Aww. I hope that Glenn comes home soon because, Pete, weren't you the one who talked about that light and sound sync issue?
Oh, yes, because you said that's your boyfriend, right?
Yeah, my boyfriend was light tech for that maze, and I asked him about it. He knew exactly what you were talking about. Yep, he knew.
Well, there you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
That
He was like, he said I wish he were here so that he could explain it better, but he said that the issue was light people and sound people came from different companies. So they sometimes they wouldn't sync up exactly right. It would be like 0.1 frame difference, and that would cause it to go off. So then they had to like coordinate with the sound people, which was kind of hard to do sometimes. But I think that's what he talked about. And for those who don't know what I'm talking about, in Pete's section at the maze, that will part, do you want to explain it better? I'm gonna let you talk about that. You were the one in it. What am I talking? What am I doing?
So what basically happened is that the sound file and the lighting file were slightly different lengths, but they were on a loop. So this is probably just a weird thing to me because I'm a car person. But if you ever had your turn signal on behind someone in a turn lane, and you kind of watch, what's the physics term I'm thinking of? I don't remember it, but anyway, your turn signal will sync up, and then eventually it kind of starts to like go out of phase, and then eventually starts to sync back up again. So that's basically what happened with my sound and lighting files, where one of them was too short or one was too long, whatever the case is, and they were on a loop, and so at times they would match up and be in sync, but eventually one would start to get ahead because it was slightly shorter than the other, and then it would basically just do this over the course of the set. It was slow, but this is where it's supposed to be. One would get ahead, one would lag behind, and then eventually they'd kind of start to come back. They'd sync up for a little while, and then they just keep doing this.
Yeah, it was like 1 frame difference or something that he said.
And
And I don't.
They said it was like 7 frames.
Oh, maybe that's it then. I
7
would
frames.
trust them over what I say.
It would cross over a good like 2 or 3 times over the course of a 45-minute set.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I wish he were here to talk about that with you specifically, because like he's the one who knows. I don't. I'm just like the middleman. I'm like, I don't know anything. What'd you say? And this was so long ago because
he might have been one of the guys that came in at one point, and I had no idea.
I mean, he said he knew exactly what you were talking about.
Exactly.
As soon as I said like, oh, I just interviewed someone who was in the Stranger Things maze, and there was this like issue with the sound and the lighting and in Will's room, that first room, and he was like, yep, I know it. Oh, yep. I remember now. He didn't know that exact problem in that maze, but he knows of that problem because it's a fairly common issue amongst like any of the mazes. So he's like, I wasn't there to help with that issue specifically in that maze, but I am familiar with what kind of issue that is and what caused it, because you know, you're working with 2 different companies and you're trying to sync things up, and sometimes it's just a little off, you know?
They basically told all of us who were Will, like our supervisors knew that there was an issue there. They could hear it and see it themselves. They went to corporate and, you know, all the you know, bureaucratic red tape and all that you have. They said, we know that there's an issue here, but the head people said, no, your stuff's perfect. Here's the sound file from your room. Email it to your actors and have them practice it because they're wrong.
Of course, because the actors are always wrong. It's not like we are in those rooms for hours at a time and know better.
Right.
Exactly.
So they basically said, no, we're wrong. We need to practice our sound. So it's kind of cool because I have the original sound recording from that room.
Ah, nice little souvenir. All right.
We're feeling nostalgic.
And it was probably about 2 weeks to the end of the run where some random people just came into the room and just sat there for like 10 minutes. I didn't know if they were with Universal or not, but they seemed like they were important, so I just let them sit in the court and just chill in my room for a little while.
They're not causing
And
problems, all right.
at the next break, they came up to me and they were just like, "Yeah, we hear the issue. We'll have it fixed."
And according to Glenn, it is a very common issue, so I don't know why they would question the actors first if this is like a fairly common thing. It's like, no, if it's not syncing up and you know that to be a problem in other mazes sometimes, why doesn't your mind go there first?
It is what it is, but I guess I have a cool souvenir of having the
Yeah, that's awesome. They don't just give those to anybody, hun.
I had that from my room.
Let me turn to chat. If you have any questions at all for my guests here, for Xandra or Pete, now's the time to ask them because we have about 30 minutes left.
Yeah.
Ish. Yeah. Any other stories that you guys have? Any fun scares? Any fun memories?
I'm trying to think. Like what I told last time.
You go first because I always like to share the one of
I know the one.
of the confirmed kill of someone who
it's pretty iconic.
pooped their pants.
Yes. Oh, I remember. Yes. Please save that for later. Absolutely.
I always like to tell ones like this because it was something I wasn't expecting when I started doing this.
Mhm.
And it was Stranger Things is a very universally loved franchise. The age span of people who are fans of the show is from little kids to our parents.
Yeah.
So it was so interesting to see how many kids went through the maze. And everybody has their own opinions on
I
what's
have
the
my
right
kid's story.
age to take a kid to Horror Nights. I personally think it's really cruel to see people dragging their terrified children through, but
Don't bring babies.
Yes!
Let me
Just saying that.
But I think it's really fun to see kids who know kind of how Horror Nights works, and they're having fun and they're enjoying it. Or even if they're a little nervous going through, and as Joyce being this motherly figure that these kids know because they watched the show, it gave such an interesting dynamic to a lot of scares. One of my favorites was I scared this little boy. He was probably like 7, and he just started laughing, and he just goes, "Mrs. Byers, you scared me."
Oh.
And it was the cutest thing. And then there were times when kids would come in and they would be a little scared, and our supervisors were kind of lax on the last couple days where we could talk a little bit to people. Then they trusted us that we weren't going to say anything out of character. But I remember such a special moment I would love to have with kids was if they were scared. I'd be like, "Hey, scared of, I have a son and he's about your age. His name is Will. Did you see him? He drew all of these pictures. Do you like them? Do you like to draw? Yeah, see, you don't have to be scared. Nothing is going to happen to you while I'm around, okay?" And like they would be, and it was so sweet to have that with them. And it was just such an interesting dynamic that I didn't expect to have. But then I realized I was like, yeah, I am like this friendly, comforting presence to them going through and seeing all this other scary stuff. And I used it to my advantage. And like I was saying earlier, with getting to also use to my advantage that I had such a dynamic character I was playing, I got to take it to different levels and engage with people going through the maze, and not necessarily a way to scare them, but a way to give them a memorable experience.
Yeah, and that's ultimately what you're doing. Like, yeah, our job is to scare, but if we can't scare based on our character or just the crowd, entertain them. Like, we're entertainers first and foremost.
Exactly.
We're performers.
Yeah.
Oh, and I scared lots of people as choice.
Oh, yeah.
And what I used, my top scare tactic I would use was I would turn around really fast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it creates a jump scare effect. Absolutely.
Exactly. And so they would see me there, there's Joyce doing her thing, and then I'd whip around and they'd be like, ah! They would not expect it at all. And it was so fun. But yes, tell your story.
In the same in the same note of, like, you know, having fun with the kids, and the kids that are actually there, maybe a little bit apprehensive, but they want to be there. They're having a good time. Mm-hmm. Don't bring kids that don't want to be there. And don't shove your 5-year-old up to a scare actor to try and have them scare them. In one example that I had, part of my scare was, again, also turning around really fast. I was in a bathroom, so I had a mirror, but with my mask, again, I had, you know, horse blinders on. I couldn't see anything. And unbeknownst to me, a parent had shoved like a 5-year-old right up next to me. And it was like underneath where I could see with the mirror behind me. And I whipped around really fast. And one of the things I do is I like throw my hands out to people. I did not see the kid that was right next to me. And I threw my hand out and I knocked this like 4-year-old clear across the room.
Oh my God.
And it was bad enough to the point where I X'd myself and pulled myself out and just been like, hey, I might have done some serious bodily injury to a kid.
Oh no! Was the kid okay? Did you get any word?
Kids, please.
You should probably offer this family like a comp ticket or something, because I mean, he just I hit him hard because I was going for it and I couldn't see him because they pushed him right up against me.
They should not have done that at all, but still, yeah, that's horrible.
So don't do that.
Don't do that. It's one thing if like your kids can handle it, because I've known quite a few like 4 or 5-year-olds who love going through Halloween Horror Nights. In fact, there's like this Halloween Horror Nights little girl celebrity. I believe her name is Trinidad.
She used to go through my friend's maze the year before, and she said that she would just have so much fun with her and look forward to seeing her all the time.
So the story I told in one of my TikToks of like I had a kid who I would go up and kind of be her guard dog, and then she would just go and then point at my next victim, and I'd go and scare them and come back, and then she would like point. Aww. That was Trinidad. Trinidad was is a frequent Halloween Horror Nights guest. Every year her mom and she will get these frequent fair passes and come through, and she's such a huge fan that she'll like paint her face and like bring little props with her to act like some of her favorite characters. And she's even like an honorary chainsaw person because she like painted her face. You're not allowed to paint your face. I think Trinidad is just like such a huge mega fan that they allow it for her because she's such a little kid. Like, what, they're not gonna think that's a scare actor kind of thing. Like she's honorable mention. She gets special treatment kind of thing. But one night she had like this stuffed chainsaw that I don't know if she bought it or if she made it or anything, but she had this cute little like prop chainsaw with her and dressed up like one of the like bulldog characters, I think. And one of the chainsaw people in Brigade pulled her from the crowd, and they did the hoorah thing, the last hoorah of the night with her. So she's honorary. Like, we already know, like, hey girl, as soon as you turn 18, like, come in, we got you. You are gonna be a scare actor for sure. Her mom even got us candy sometimes backstage, and she's just a huge mega fan. So like, if for kids like that, maybe not to that extent. Like, if they can handle it, great. If they are sobbing and want to go home, take the kid home. Like, I had seen so many parents or guardians bringing those kids through who are sobbing and terrified, traumatized, and hearing the guardian say, well, we paid for your ticket, so we're going through tonight, blah, blah. I get it. It's an expensive ticket, but you know what else is expensive? Therapy.
You're going to pay for the therapy.
The only time I was ever reported by a guest was in that situation. It was towards the end of the run, and there was a kid who was just coming through. I mean, yeah, he was probably 4 or 5, if that, and was just sobbing, crying, screaming, kicking. Like his parents were just dragging him through the maze, and he's just, no, I can't do this. I don't want to go.
That breaks my heart.
And I saw him come through, and it was a slower night. There was nobody else coming through behind him, so I straight up just bent down as he's like trying to push me away, and I just kind of pulled my mask up just enough so he could see my face, and I was like, "Hey, buddy, we're all people too. We're all just here having fun. You have fun too. You know, we're
not gonna hurt you. Yeah,
I'm a person too.
I think that's
this is
so
fake.
sweet.
Give me a little fist bump." And immediately his tears went away, and he just kind of.
Oh.
It's all just people like you, right? I was like, yeah, here, give me a little fist bump. You got this, buddy. And he gave me a little fist bump, and his parents were just, that is not authentic. That is not what we paid for. I am reporting you. And sure enough, they reported me for that. But
they know we're all actors anyway, so what's the problem?
To see him go from sheer absolute terror to, okay, yeah, we can.
But he will always remember that.
He will remember that, and you did a great thing doing that.
You're all just people here too. I can just kind of have fun.
Yeah.
I know that all you guys are people.
Yeah. You helped him. No matter what his parents say, he's going to remember that. I would have remembered that as a kid.
Oh,
yeah.
No, when I got that report that came through, obviously supervisors it was mandatory that they had to pull me aside
of
too.
course.
Yeah.
But it was.
Yeah. They understood, yeah.
Except in someone who pulled me aside, cannot give name, but one of the supervisors pulled me aside, and she was like, "Look, we got this report on you. I have to talk to you about it. But I reviewed the footage. I saw what was going on.
Let it slide.
Don't do that again."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would do. I mean, I wouldn't take my mask off or anything, but when I was in the scare zone as the wolf and I would get those screaming kids, I would always try and interact with them specifically. Like, that's where the adopting kids came from, was like, if they were really scared, I would test it and just like wave from a distance, see how scared they are. Can I come a little closer? Fist bump, roar to the sky with me. Okay, we got through that. Now you're not as scared of me. Come with me. Let's scare the other Scareactors and make you feel powerful for a little bit. So I would scare the parents off, because the parents are always the worst. You know, like, it's always the parents that are the problem. So I'm scared. Luckily for me, like, I'm a tall girl. The mask also added like a couple more inches. I was on the ground. Whoops. Water bottle. I saved it. It's fine. So I would get down on the ground with the kid, kneeling with the kid, right? Give them a false sense of security. Not the kid, but the parents. I give the parents a false sense of security. I'm friends with the kid, right? I'm like, okay, cool. You stand off to the side, kid. And I would shoot up and stand up straight, and I would look down on the parents, who are usually shorter than me anyway, and like, you know, like do this like intimidation backup thing, make them back up, and, like, growl at them a little bit and have them be like, oh my god, and like get like an inch from their face. I'm like, no, get away from this kid. I'm gonna save him. And then the parents would back up, and then I would turn to the kid, and the kid would be like a little scared because I just scared their parents, and I'd be like, hi.
Oh, that's so cute.
Come here. And they'd be like, okay. I'm like, come on. And then we had this understanding in my zone where the hierarchy was the zombie kids were scared of the wolves, and the wolves were scared of the chainsaws, but the chainsaws were in like a completely different zone. So there was already this understanding that if a wolf went up to a zombie kid and looked intimidating, they have to be scared back. Like, that was already an established thing.
Oh, that's really cool.
So I went up to a zombie kid, and I started going like this to them, and they caught on real quick. And that's what I love about scare actors, especially like experienced improv scare actors. It's like they catch on real quick, right? And they'd be like, oh, and then I would like motion the kid, like, you scare, and they'd go roar, and then the zombie kid obviously catches on. It's like, and then we would chase them around together for a little bit.
Aww.
And then I would turn the kid to the parents. Or there was this one that was really funny because she was getting really into it, and the parents came in and was like, hi, we actually have to go. We have like dinner reservations with her grandma. So can I have her back, please? And I just like, I'm still an intimidating wolf, right? So I'm standing there. I'm not like apologetic by any means. That's out of character, right? So I just like look at them and like stare them down. And I look down at the kid, and the kid just looks up and goes, "It's true." And then I look sad, and then I get down on the level, and I would say bye, and then one more roar, and then release them. But then I do one last look at the parents, like I'm watching you, kind of thing, and then they're off.
That is amazing.
I'm so happy like you got to have that experience. That's so fun.
And those are always the Scareactor stories that do better on TikTok too that I've found. It's always the ones about me adopting kids, which I didn't get a whole lot of chances to do, but I did my best to make sure that kids weren't scared because, you know, I'm a very motherly person. Yeah, I'm scaring, but I want to make sure you're having fun. But heads up to anyone watching, scare actors are typically told you are fair game. If you're a kid and they're scared, you're still fair game, whether you're traumatized or not. Not all scare actors are as nice as we are, where we try and make sure the kid isn't as traumatized. Other scare actors, there are plenty out there that would say, hey, if they're already crying, that's an easy scare for me. I'm just gonna scare them.
But
that's part of the job. They shouldn't be there anyway.
That's, at least in my opinion, like that's not fun at that point.
It's not. And you could tell when it's
someone that is already just shaking and traumatized, whether they're 5 or they're 35. If they're already terrified just from being there,
them.
you just look at them sideways and just boo, and then like
they'll collapse, they'll faint. You know, like.
There's no challenge in that.
It gets to like a dangerous point if someone is that terrified, that traumatized, because it will like trigger something in them and they'll start getting shakes and hysteria, and that's a dangerous place to be in. So you don't want to get them to that point. It's all for fun. Like, yeah, you're supposed to scare them, but if they're already terrified, just back up. Know when to say no. Know when to back off, because they're already terrified. Versus others who are like crying, but they're laughing and they're having fun. Absolutely scare them. They're an ezy scare and it's fun, and you might drop them and maybe make them poo their pants. Segue.
Yes.
Tell your story.
My favorite scare was as the maze host, Will, and this one person was coming through. And they were on their phone. I'm sure you've experienced a lot of people who are just staring at their phone the entire time, trying not to pay attention.
Too many, yeah.
They're already terrified, and the only thing they have is their phone to keep them. I'm not looking. Try to get this person's attention. They were just glued to their phone. Finally, just stuck my face in between their phone and their face, and it just worked out perfectly. Got them right in the spot that they had to be, and they just chucked their phone clear across the room.
Oh no!
They jumped back. They were in the middle of the room, and it was almost as if I just picked them up and just threw them.
Oh my God! Use the force.
all the way across, literally, just boom, flew
were you
back.
Will or were you 11?
I was Will, but I could have been 11 at that point. You never know. And they flew back into the back wall, hit the wall, like did the slow cartoon style slide down the wall.
Sounds like me. I do that sometimes. Oh, the shame. Sorry, continue.
It took them like 15, 20 seconds to regain their composure. And then they started walking out of the room very slowly, walking in a very particular way, and then I just heard them exclaim, "Oh, I just myself!"
Oh no!
And
oh my God!
They found their phone. They left the room, and about 30 seconds after they left the room,
the
you could smell it.
Oh, the smell hits. Oh no! I know exactly the feeling.
It was it was disgusting. Don't get me wrong, but it made me so happy because it was a confirmed kill. Like,
oh yeah, oh definitely. Scareactors will try and make you poo your pants because that is a rarity, but we are proud of it.
I never
So
had
use our
that
restroom
on.
first.
Someday
Also,
Yes.
thank you for the follow, Pork Beef Zip Code Boy. Thank you for the follow. I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. I hope you are enjoying the Scare Actor Talks. The Resmain. Hi, welcome back. It's been a while since you've been here, as you have mentioned in your previous comment. They are asking any fun silent scares. Silent scares. Like, we have to be silent most of the time anyway because we can't talk. Do you mean like the reaction is silent but still funny? Or I'm not sure what you mean by silent scares, but
maybe like without a trigger or something.
maybe. I mean, I used to get people a lot with the mannequin.
Oh, they clarified, like sneaking up on unsuspecting people. Oh, all the time.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the best.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's one of the main things I would do as a wolf is to sneak up behind. I did say this story before, but it's I think one of my best revenge scare stories because it's looking out for the other wolf girls. I love women and kids because I was once a kid and I understand the feeling of being a kid, and I am a woman, so I understand what women go through. So solidarity in women, nothing against men, but men disgust me sometimes, so I'm gonna get my revenge. If they deserve it, of course. Obviously, I wouldn't be dating a guy. Not all men. Whatever. Anyway. Exactly. You know. There are good ones out there. But this guy in particular was a bad egg. So he would go up to my half-transformed wolf girl. This was in 2018. And he would start making obscene gestures and suggesting things, and she was clearly uncomfortable. And we can't like get out of some scenarios because it might be too crowded, or like they're holding us down, kind of thing. Like it depends on the scenario. But I could tell like she was pretty uncomfortable. She was just kind of like, "Dude, get away from me!" Kind of look like, "Not even gonna try and scare you. Like get away from me, you're creeping me out." And I saw this. I didn't like it at all. I hated what was going on. I was on the other side of the scare zone and I could barely see or breathe in my mask. But for some reason, I caught sight of that exact thing going on at the right time. So I made my way through the crowd and parked myself basically right next to her, a certain distance away from the guy. Luckily for me, the guy was still looking at her as he was walking this way. So he would like turn his back, be like, call me, like that. I would just stand there and wait for him to either turn around and see me or bump into me. Either way, he's getting a scare from me because he didn't know I was there. At the very last second, he turns around and he's like, call me. Ah! And he falls to the ground.
That's
Nice.
fantastic. Well deserved.
Yes.
And just like high-fived the half-transformed girl, and she was laughing hysterically, as one should, because that was well-deserved, and I was very proud. Because sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes you try that, and they'll just turn around and be like, oh, hey, what's up? And those are the worst feelings, because like I was trying to get revenge. You don't deserve to not be scared.
This happens to me all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So I know the feeling.
Yeah.
Usually I got him, but there were the ones every once in a while they're just like, oh, what are you gonna do?
And it's just, it makes it so much worse because like I failed and they think they could get away with this. But that one in particular was a very successful revenge scare, and I snuck up there. And I would sneak up to a lot of people because A, I'm sneaky, B, they're most likely not paying attention to me.
Yeah.
Even though I'm a big werewolf, I knew how to be in the crowd, go with the flow of the crowd, and I would pop out every once in a while. So lots of sneak scares for sure.
They're the best.
Yeah.
The worst that I got with stuff like that was I was Will Byers in Stranger Things. I am 12 years old in 13?
13 in season
13 in season 2. I'm a 13-year-old boy. And I had a lot of people who were obviously familiar with the show because they would call me by name and just like do all kinds of obscene things like, a lot of
Use your
really,
imagination.
use your imagination.
I don't
A lot
want
of
to.
really screwed up things. They said a lot of really screwed up things, but as far as silent scares go, yes, that was the bulk of what I did was just stand at the sink in a slightly awkward pose that looked like I was just a badly placed mannequin.
Yeah.
And then right when people are about to leave but do that double take, just rush them. No sound, no nothing,
And what
get
I
them every
love
time.
about that too is that there were Will mannequins in the same mask and clothes later on,
Oh.
and then everybody was so afraid the mannequins were gonna come after them.
Brilliant.
Yeah, yeah, because you had a mannequin in your
In my, yeah,
in
so
your
they would be
room.
like
Is that one gonna move?
going
Is that one
around
gonna-
it. I'm sure.
when it was,
Psyched them out.
but it was just
Yeah.
a mannequin.
But
I
it
never,
was
I
just a
never even
mannequin.
thought of that until
Yeah.
now. Actually,
Yeah, you made them
That's
scared
hilarious.
of the other mannequins.
Oh, and then it's like it's a multi-layered scare at that point because they're just like on edge thinking that they're gonna get scared again by the same
Exactly.
mannequin,
Yeah.
but they're just mannequins. So
Yeah, it was
ooh,
really
that's interesting. I like that. I guess another not like sneak scare, but I guess this is a silent scare too. I've told this story before. Stop me if you guys have heard it, but for those who've never heard this, why not? I was fully transformed wolf. So I was not human other than my legs, but legs can look like mannequin legs, you know, whatever. When I would start a set, I normally would start my set going behind the school bus and then popping up next to these photo op areas, waiting specifically for when the fog was the thickest. So I would
Yes.
like just kind of appear in the fog, and then I would stand there as if I was just decoration. I would get quite a few people that way, but there was one in particular, this guy and this girl. I assume they're dating for the sake of the story. We'll just say that they were dating. The girl wanted to take a picture of the guy next to me because I'm a photo op at that
Yes.
point, right? So I'm staying like this as a wolf. The guy came to like about here, like this is his head, so a little shorter than me. And the girl was about to take the photo, and right before she takes the photo, I just move my head. Just my head to look at the guy. She starts freaking out because I just moved. They didn't know I moved, so she's freaking out, and the guy's really confused why she's freaking out. She's like, like that, and the guy's like, what are you talking about? Ah! Just sees bloody wolf mouth in his face that he was not
I
expecting.
love it.
And
That's
then
what it's all
awesome.
about.
Yeah.
He
Yes.
like freaks
That's
out.
amazing.
They run away, and I break out. And I'm like, roar! I'm a person, sorta. I'm a wolf, and then I would like continue my set from there. But yeah, that's how I would start off my sets. It's like I look like decoration. I'm gonna start every set as decoration and see what happens.
So fun.
And there's
See,
actually there's this one video on YouTube that I saw because I was looking for footage of me scaring because I don't have any of myself, and there was this one vlog from this girl, and they caught one of that times, and I actually got them good, and I was so proud of that because I didn't know I got anyone most of the time unless they were like right there, but I was in the fog, and they pointed me out saying, oh, that's a cool photo op, that's cool decoration or something like that. And that's apparently when I came to life, and I was like, whoa, like that, and they freak out and go, oh my god, I thought she wasn't real.
That's so
They break
awesome.
out. It's like, oh, that makes me feel good even after the fact because I didn't know they were there. I didn't know I got anyone. Nice to know I got them. Cool. But yeah, that was another sneak scare, I guess, a silent scare, because I was mannequin scare. That's as
Mannequin,
silent as
yeah.
it gets.
The mannequin scare, it worked.
It works. It really does.
Especially when you had the conga line go through. So you do your scare, go back to mannequin pose, wait for a new set of people to conga line in. It'll just stop naturally for, a minute or whatever it is that they're all stuck there.
Mm-hmm.
And you just hold that pose. And then once they start moving again, you've been standing there for a minute and they've been looking at you for a minute. They have no idea that you're a real person. And then all of a sudden that's when you could just like drop like 10 people. It would just propagating a wave, just like.
Yep. Wait. Scare the middle is always a good rule. Scare the middle. Yeah. Wait for the new people. I hate conga lines. I hate buildups like that. But yeah, it is the most effective way to deal with those kind of issues. It's like you go,
it really is.
And it really depends on what area you're in, because you, Pete, you were like back facing them, and you had something to stabilize you that you could hold potentially, right?
Yeah.
So it's easier for you to stay still when you're like stabilized in that way.
Yeah. And having a mirror helps to be able to see the people.
Exactly. Oh, that was a working mirror. Nice. I didn't know that. It was an actual mirror.
Like, that's the only way I could see people behind me, or really anything in the room, was I had that mirror. It was a real mirror. I could actually kind of see.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll tell a story because that also answers a question that someone has. Any way to hide the natural rise and fall of the chest for statue scares? That takes a lot of breath exercises. So when you're not doing anything, just look up maybe some breathing techniques, because the more control you have over your diaphragm, the easier it's going to be, because you won't feel the rise in your chest as much. That means you're not breathing right. It's actually a rise and fall of down here. And if it's shallow enough, you can make it look like you're not breathing, especially depending on the costume you have. If you have a loose fitting shirt or something, like you don't have a problem. Yeah. If it's a really tight costume, you have more of a problem hiding that. But slow breathing is the best way I could describe it. And I'll describe it by telling this story again. One time I was arrow kill. I was lined up with two other dummies. I had just counselor shirt on. I was in Friday the 13th. I had arrows in me, and I was up against a bullseye, right? I had a knife that was hidden behind my back, and I pretended to be dead. And I would wait for a new set of people, and yes, there was always a backup line for some reason. There's always a conga line, but I would wait for a fresh new group of people to come through, and they would think I was just like dead, dummy, whatever, and then I'd come to life. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm dying. Like, get away from me. Are you part of who he is? And I'd go back up to the bullseye and then die again. Like, and do that. Wait for a new set of people. Do it all again, right? Big acting moment. But in order to sell that and make people believe that I am a dummy or I am dead, I had to control my breathing. So what I would do is I would close my eyes, or I'd look down so that it looks like my eyes are close to them, but I can still see. So I'd look kind of down, wait for the shoes to walk in front of me, and then that's when I would pop out. But breathing-wise, what I would do is breathe through the nose, slowly, 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 because it's easier to see it when it's quick. So if the slower you go, the better. And then, like, slowly out the mouth. And then, like, if you can handle it being shallow without hyperventilating, that's even better, because if it's shallow, there's less air in you to fill you up, right? But it takes a lot of practice to get to that point. Stand as still as possible. Make sure you're grounded wherever you are. If you have some sort of stability, like a sink, like Pete had, that's even better, because you could like lean on that a little bit. Keep you from shaking. I had the back bullseye to stabilize me, right? Mm-hmm. So find a way to stabilize yourself. Shallow breaths if you can handle it. Breathing exercises. Just breathe from the diaphragm. That's the best way I could say. Do you guys have any advice in that? Do you know how to... like you're not breathing?
So I agree with you on breathing from the diaphragm. Like I said, I didn't really have the setting to do convincing mannequin scares. But I can say, as a singer and using my diaphragm to sing all the time, it is much easier to conceal that, because people who don't normally breathe from their diaphragm are not going to be looking there to see if you're breathing. They're going to be looking up here. So that makes sense.
Slow your heart rate if you know how to do that.
I was just fortunate to, have that sync. I could just hold myself there. I was facing away from everybody, and I was wearing a really big baggy sweater. So I could, and even, just the lighting in that room, I could have been sitting there As long as I was keeping myself relatively still, I could have been hyperventilating and they wouldn't have known. So I was just lucky. It lent itself, my environment lent itself to that scare naturally. So.
Also, what helps me to breathe slower and just be focused on the breathing and just not moving at all is it might not look realistic, but it depends on where your hands are or if you're able to use them depending on your costume. But I like to have a focus point, you know, like just a point that I can focus on. And that keeps the rest of me steady if I'm focusing on that one point rather than just like, oh, I'm thinking of everything. Like, don't move, don't move, don't move, don't move, don't breathe. Focus point. Or focus point. I don't need help. I know this is the not new, but this is the sign for help me. I don't need help, but if you like tuck your thumb in, that helps give you a focus point. Wrap your two fingers around each other. That's a focus point. But I like to do this. Just like focus. And it depends on costume. Obviously, I couldn't do that with the wolf because I had claws on.
Right.
So with that, it was just a matter of fog, do your job.
Yep.
Hide my breathing, hide my movement, please. Carlos, I've been in choir since high school, and the first lesson is you shouldn't raise your shoulders or breathe from your chest, just from the diaphragm. So that advice is gold. Yes.
It is true.
Learn how to breathe from your diaphragm. It'll help you not only to help with your breathing and all that, but you won't kill your voice as fast. And as scare actors, we need to scream in a healthy way.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Honey. This is not a pet name for you guys. Bring honey. We were just talking about that. At 11 a.m., I interviewed Elizabeth Regal, and one of her biggest pieces of advice to protect the voice was honey. It coats your throat, heals, all that stuff. Don't use... what's it called? God. Oh, I'm blanking. Damn it. My mind after work is dead. I'm so sorry. Tip of the tongue syndrome. I'm so sorry. Throat lozenges. Thank you. Throat lozenges. Don't use those, because a lot of them have this quality that numbs the throat, and that's what helps you. But that can be dangerous if you're still using your voice because you can still potentially hurt it without even knowing.
Yeah. No, something my favorite go-to was this stuff. You can get it on Amazon. It's called Honey Liquat. It tastes absolutely disgusting. It tastes like honey mixed with cough syrup, but it is a miracle worker. Just a spoonful of that every night will coat your throat and heal, and it's so great. I swear by
I
it.
didn't even know about that. I use gingins, like these little ginger chews. They're really good for your throat too. I use them for not just scare acting, but like voiceover and all that. So ginger, lemon, honey, those are the best ways to help a throat. Yeah, Carlos, I was taking a choir class while I was also at Halloween Horror Nights, and every time my voice was shot because of lack of sleep, the professor would joke, "Is it that damn Horror Nights again?" Yes, it is. Always blame Horror Nights. That's why our voices and bodies and minds are shot. But we do it anyway because we love it. Are you guys planning on scaring again this upcoming, hopefully, year?
Hopefully.
Hopefully, if it's open, if everything's safe, everyone's vaccinated, all that fun stuff, the mess is over enough. Yeah.
If they're open, if they're doing HHN again, or, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
if we can find anything, quite honestly, and my work schedule will allow for it, then yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No questions.
100%. I got brought into this world by accident, but I'm planning on staying. So.
That's amazing. I mean, unfortunate circumstances, but I'm glad you found your way to something that you love.
Oh, no, I'm so grateful that he found his way. I don't care how he did.
I'm grateful for finding my way through this because I found you and I found some in a very fun and amazing thing that I love doing. So
yeah, great friends, great memories, great connections, all that stuff. You're still acting and having fun. And for me personally, I find it as a great therapy for me.
Oh, it is.
yeah.
It's great therapy. You just have fun with your friends, get paid. Well, be safe about it, of course. But yeah, it's weird. Like, your story is the epitome of everything happens for a reason.
It really is.
Yeah.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
Like, whenever I see you two, I'm just like, everything happens for a reason. Yep.
Yeah.
I believe in that. Any other questions? Anything you want to talk about for scare acting? How about you guys? Any other stories you want to share that you didn't get to share yet?
Well, I would love to share what we're doing now.
Yes, please.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Take this time.
Especially because it involves a lot of veteran scare actors.
Yeah.
So as I mentioned previously, at the beginning of our little interview here, Stranger Things is the biggest part of my life. And that is mostly because for the past 3 years, I have been producing, writing, directing, just really getting on its feet, musical adaptation of Stranger Things, a full stage musical with all original songs, all the scenes from, it's based on season 1. So it's basically the story of season 1 with music and dance and stage elements. I was really inspired by the show. I was very shocked that there wasn't already a stage adaptation of it. So I decided to make my own. We were originally going to have our debut last year, but because of this mess that we got into, unfortunately, like most theatrical productions, didn't get to happen. But as of February of this year, we have been in weekly Zoom rehearsals. We're just about to switch over to in-person rehearsals this month. And we are going to be finally getting to perform this on May 15th of this year.
Yay! That's so soon. Oh my god.
Tell me about it. So we've got a great cast, and I would say 75% of them are people from Horror Nights, and not even necessarily our maze. Like, we have some people that were in our maze.
Yeah.
Like Kyle
people,
mentioned this when I interviewed him recently. Yeah.
Like Kyle, our amazing Steve. He's from our maze. Our Hopper in the show is also a veteran Hopper of 2 years at Horror Nights. His name is Pat.
Oh, Pat's in it? No way. I love Pat. Okay.
Well, you will have to check out the show then, because he is amazing.
Oh, I know it. Shoot,
yeah.
I know it. I know him. It's cool. It's cool.
Oh, yeah. No, he's amazing. And I get to work with him a lot in the show, which is really fun. We have our Mr. Clark, the science teacher, was Louis Tully in Ghostbusters this year.
Okay.
Or last year, or 2 years ago, rather. Oh,
whenever it was, 2019.
Whenever it was.
The last one.
The last one that happened, 2019.
Our Lucas, his name is Tracy. He was in Frankenstein Meets the Wolfman. Like, there's a pretty big Horror Nights scare actor group in our cast, and it's so funny. Sometimes in rehearsals, we'll just get sidetracked and start telling scare actor stories and be like, oh, remember we did this? Oh, remember this scare? We're like, no, we have to focus on the show. But it's just so great that we have that camaraderie that brought us all together. And even the people not from Horror Nights, I mean, Lily, our Mike was a scare actor. Our Dustin's been a scare actor. Like, it's just interesting how many scare actors just so happen to be involved.
We're just great performers, man. Like, we're so committed to what we do. We got Carlos Valencia saying Pat and Stephanie are the goats. Yes, Tracy, tell him Carlos says hi.
We will.
So
wait, Carlos
Valencia, I think she said.
Carlos.
Oh.
Carlos.
Oh, Carlos!
Yes.
We know you, Carlos. They know you. I don't know if I know you. Hi. Thank you for joining this stream, Carlos. And then the res main, that is so cool. Congrats from a fellow musician.
Yes.
Yeah.
What did you say?
The res main says, this is so cool. Congrats from a fellow musician.
Thank you. Yeah, if you guys want to tune in, we're going to have a very limited audience in person, but it is going to be live streamed on the 15th. And you're going to be able to secure seats for that very soon. All the info for that is going to be on our social media. So.
Oh my god, D squared, thank you for the viewers. We were about to wrap up actually, but for those joining, I just want to say a quick hello, welcome. My name is Noelle, also known as Charge and Die. Welcome to Scareactor Stories. If you're interested in scare acting, we did it! Yes. So if you're interested in scare acting, if you're interested in hearing these fun stories, I do these every Saturday. I interview fellow scare actors like Xandra and Pete here. We've been talking about their good old Stranger Things maze times and all those shenanigans. And we also give advice on scare acting and how to get started if that's something that you're interested in. Aaron the Collector, thank you so much for the follow. Hello, everyone. Carlos Valencia, not Palencia, he says. D squared raid, man. Oh, I love Dan. Dan and I actually scared together. Sort of. He was like my area supervisor. That's how I know him. And, you know, we turned friends and now we got a game together sometimes, you guys. Dan and Danny. That's why they're called D squared. Hopefully we'll play Dead by Daylight soon. But yeah, thank you, Raiders. Please follow if you haven't done so already. I play games too. I'm going to be playing Skyrim tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific time. I play with my viewers on Tuesdays sometimes. I need to fix an issue with my computer before I start doing that again. And Wednesdays, I play Phasmophobia or other horror games with my friends. And then, of course, Saturdays, Scareactor Saturday. Hear all the fun stories and have the fun times. Let me see. I missed some comments. You always hit the tail end, Dan. Damn it. Dan it. Carlos, on orientation day, they got me and him mixed up and we knew each other ever since. Oh. So there is a Carlos Palencia and Carlos Valencia. Interesting. We're sad we missed the stories. It's okay. I've only been live since 6 and it's currently 9:20. Dan, come on. Way later than I expected to. So thank you so much for the raid. It's all good, man. I still need to interview you at some point. You and Danny both I would love to have you guys, but this isn't about you. This is about Xandra and Pete. Okay? Your time will come. So if you guys don't mind hanging on just a little while longer so that the Raiders understand what we do and what we talk about and everything like that. There was a question of, were there any last day shenanigans that you can remember?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Oh, please, let's hear it. Let's go.
Yes. You want me to?
Go ahead.
All right. So, Kyle, who I didn't know you interviewed Kyle, but
several times, yeah.
Yeah, he was obviously Steve Harrington. He was right next to me. Very good friend of mine now.
This is Halloween Horror Nights, by the way, for those who are just joining in. We're talking Halloween Horror Nights 2019, right?
Yeah. 2019.
Xandra played Joyce, and Pete played Will with the slug in his mouth. Okay, so you're caught up. You're caught up. Last day shenanigans. Let's go. Sorry.
Yeah, so Kyle and I would play soccer. This wasn't specific to the last day, but it got really extreme on the last day, where we would basically play soccer underneath the curtain with trash that guests would throw at us. So Gatorade bottles and things like that. We'd play soccer, and it got to a point where I just start bringing him trash.
Yeah, so he would show up and be like
they'd throw something at me and I would just pick it up and I just walk across the curtain to a completely different set and just knock on his door and just not say anything when he'd come out, and I would just like hand him trash and then just leave. And then
I always used to say we had this family dynamic and we had this like whole background that Steve, because he was in my house, was my adopted child. And I was always like, you are a bad influence on your little brother. Do not give him any ideas. And then they'd be like crawling on the walls and stuff and jumping off of things. And I'd be like, you get down right now. You are going to hurt yourself. And I am not going to hear you complain that you broke something before set. And then
we would just screw around entirely. But yes, last day shenanigans, I did start to say things to people. Some of them were like, oh, can you like go get my mom, she's in the other room. But other things were like when people would walk in and just like, is that Will, is that Will, is that Will? And then I'd turn around and I'd go for the scare and I'd just be like, my name's Jeff. Just dumb things like that. And yeah, that was specifically for the last day. That was just, I'm just gonna say anything and everything.
We made like, because it started off with him in the maze, and then you went to Steve, and then you went to me. So we made it into like this whole storyline on the last day that we would take guests through. So
I take kids through, across the curtain into Kyle, Steve, and then he would take the kids and then like run them down the hall and then
come to me, be like, Joyce, they need your help, and then like we would just have this whole narrative going on with the guests, and they were so into it. It was so fun.
They were. It was amazing.
That is amazing. I highly recommend that if people want to see scare actors screwing around, the best day to go is the last day of any haunt, because that's where it's like, well, what are they going to do? Fire us? Like, we're not going to do anything so bad that it deems firing us by any means. We're still professionals and we'll get the scares in, but we'll mess around a little bit. I'll admit, in 2018 when I was the wolf, one of the things I did, and I said this in my interview with Rob if you guys were there, but for those who weren't, as the wolf I had 3 other wolf sisters, so we were a total of 4, and we would switch off so that in each set there was always one full transformed wolf and one half transformed wolf, and then we'd switcheroo. But in one set on, I think it was the last day, maybe the last week, something like that, but it was around the like, let's screw around times, right? All of us went on set together at one point, and we locked arms together like this, and we did the Sanderson sister from Hocus Pocus walk down our zone. We're like, as wolves. It was so funny. We still got scares with that, which was amazing. All right, Mama Wolf, I have to go. Hope to see you tomorrow for Skyrim Sunday. Absolutely, 11 a.m. Pacific time. Skyrim it is. Thank you for joining Maroon Wolf. Carlos, the Stranger Things squad has had a familial bond like no other. I loved seeing them while getting food at Dino Cafe.
Yes!
The $5 chicken tender baskets with the mashed potatoes and Dino.
No, the fries.
Hi,
the quesadilla with the fries. That's what I
quesadilla with the fries. Yeah, that was yes.
Dan goes best day to go. Absolutely. Self-care moment. Nice. I think I heard Glenn. Maybe I'm going crazy. That chicken Caesar, LOL, goes Dan. Yes. I would get the chicken tenders at Take 5 like every day. I would tell everyone as a scare actor, as a role model now, if that's even remotely what I am, I always tell people, make sure you get a lot of protein, eat healthy, don't eat like crappy food, bad for you, because you'll definitely feel it later in your sets.
It's true.
Do as I say, not as I do, because I did have chicken tenders like every day before my shift, maybe a burger, like drown it in ketchup, like
burritos, fries.
Now the best,
that was always the healthiest options over at Dino.
At 3 a.m. when you go through the drive-through after your shift and are just like, give me all the food.
Oh, there was one time I was scaring on the USS Hornet in Alameda. We were doing the Haunted Hornet. And it was a very small haunt. It was definitely like makeshift haunt, very, very great people putting it on, don't get me wrong. But like they made their own company doing this, and they I don't know how long they'd been doing it either, but very cool folks. There were quite a few people who were the type of people who are really into horror but aren't necessarily performers in any way. right? So they're just there to scare, but they don't know the techniques or anything. And then there was me, who was an actor, but that was also my first haunt. So I was like taking my acting experience to be scary. And that's when I grew to love scaring and became a professional scare actor. But there were definitely some nights where may or may not have forgotten to take my makeup and costume off.
Oh no.
And went to In-N-Out Burger right nearby. Not the drive-thru either. I went in. And I sat down and I ate my burger and fries and my shake. All in costume. And I stayed in character a little bit too. Obviously I ordered myself. I'm like, hey.
Yeah, we would. We absolutely would.
Yeah. I would switch in and out because like when I ordered, I'd be like, hey, what's up? Can I get a burger? And keep in mind, I've like blackout eyes and like this like airbrushed on clown makeup in a way and like some fake blood here and there. Like clearly not a normal person. Raggedy clothes, all that fun stuff. And I go to order my burger. I'm like, hey, can I get a double animal style and some fries? Thanks. Paid. Cool. I sit down eating my burger, and there was some people like right next to me and the next table over were just staring at me. And I would just look at them and like that. Freak them out.
That is amazing.
That is amazing.
It's like, I got no shame. You kidding me? It's 3 a.m. at an In-N-Out. Who do you think you're gonna see? Come on.
Yeah, that's a fair point.
Yeah.
That's a fair point.
Yeah, you're gonna get the weirdos. Why are you judging me? I just came off a shift. Let me eat my food.
Yeah.
But I also love the stairs. That's the way I do it. Obviously, I wanted to get some sort of attention. That's why I forgot. I thought it'd be a really interesting experiment. It was funny.
No, it was fun. We actually, not necessarily related to scare acting, but we were just in Atlanta. We went to a lot of the Stranger Things filming locations, which was super fun. Took a lot of pictures, but we were.
I didn't know they filmed in Atlanta. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
It all filmed in and around like a 1 hour radius of Atlanta. And we were there as Joyce and Jonathan, and it was really cute. We had some really fun interactions with people, especially at the school at Hawkins Middle School. We ran into like these 2 other families that were doing the same thing we were doing, and they were so excited to see us and talk to us. And it's fun. It's extending what you do on your terms.
Yeah, I love that. I did see, like, I just followed you on Instagram. I don't know why I didn't do that sooner, but I followed you on Instagram, and I saw that you got to drive the car.
Yes.
Yes, that's so cool.
We have a Ford Pinto as well too that we actually own that we're actually going to be going and working on tomorrow.
Yeah.
Nice.
But yeah,
how exciting.
we did get to drive the actual screen used car, and that was pretty amazing.
And drove it to downtown Hawkins.
Yeah.
And
Oh, that's so exciting, especially knowing like how passionate you are about the series. I could only imagine like your heart, Cloud 9. Yeah. Oh my god.
Like, is this real? Is this my life? Is this actually happening?
Oh my god, that's amazing. Carlos says the blood is a real nightmare, not for those looking at it, but those wearing it. Absolutely. It depends on the fake blood that you have, because some fake blood can stain. Other ones, it's just a bitch to take off. Seriously. And that's part of the reason why I left my makeup on, because I was like, I'm not about to use 20 baby wipes to get this stuff off. I'm just gonna go home, put my cold cream on, take a shower, get it off myself, whatever. And no one said no. So, and I just figured now's the perfect time to grab a burger. Another time I was scaring at, not a haunt, but it was like another scary kind of attraction, and I played a gang member back in the day kind of thing. And the makeup was bruised eye, somewhat bloody nose, cut on the lip. You have like white makeup on to like pale yourself, and then dark makeup to contour your face so you look dead, right? Sunken eyes, all that stuff. And then I would add like a scar here and there and bruises and whatever, because I've got beat up, but you should see the other guy kind of thing. And this was in San Francisco, and I would get off shift probably around midnight. And if I had no one to walk home with, like to the BART station with, which was a 20-minute walk at least, and then BART itself is kind of sketchy, so it's always good to have someone with you. I didn't have anyone to walk with me one night, so I decided to just leave my makeup on, and use that as like a intimidation tactic. See if people leave me alone. Oh, people stared, but they definitely left me alone. And I have proof, because this guy I went on a date with back in college happened to be on that particular car, and we went to school in Southern California in Santa Barbara, so I have no idea why he was there at that exact moment in that exact time. My life is a freaking sitcom, you guys. But I looked over at him and just went, oh no, like in my head I was like, but he definitely caught eye of me and went, so it worked.
That's amazing.
He didn't say hi. There was a reason there was only one date. It was horrible. I actually shared that one of the story times on my TikTok. He's the guy who is like against a fence that my club put up along a cliffside because people would get drunk and fall off the cliff accidentally and die. So we fought really hard to get that fence put in place, and it was it was just like knee-high fence, if not waist-high fence. And on the date, he goes, oh, I hate that fence because it obstructs my view of the ocean. And I said, well, on behalf of the club that I am a part of, we put that fence in to prevent people from falling off and dying. So I'm sorry that we obstruct your view of the ocean? And he goes, oh, but they'll find a way to die. So, that and amongst other things, I was like, there's no second date. You have, oh my God, that was just such a bad comment. And, oh, it was like such an awkward day. I won't get into it more, but yes, the blood is a nightmare, Carlos, absolutely. Sasu goes, it's super well priced to film out there in Atlanta, absolutely, yes. Yeah, that's why a lot of people do it. I heard like the film industry was moving more toward there. I know they filmed The Walking Dead out there because I have a family friend who is on The Walking Dead, and he films out there. I wish I knew him more personally so I could get on the show, but whatever. At least I know that
Marvel
fact.
comes out there now too, so everybody is.
Yeah, if the film industry starts moving out there more rather than dying, I heard it's kind of dying out now, and Texas is the place to be. I don't know. But I need clarification. I need some solid evidence. I might move back to Georgia because I lived there when I was 5, and I wouldn't mind going back. And then you guys could come out. We could all live together. Let's get a cheap place, live together. Yeah. Let's be in let's do it. Let's go. It's really happening. Carlos, being Stranger Things performers yourself, did the Stranger Things drive-through experience bring a weird sense of nostalgia? That's a good question.
I am going to take a bathroom break. This is all you to answer.
This is all me to answer. Okay. So, a lot of feelings about this event, and some of them are good. Some are critiques.
This is from a real Stranger Things fan, folks. She knows better.
As soon as they announced that was a thing that was happening, I sent them an email, like within 20 minutes of them making their social media page.
Oh my God. Love it.
I sent them an email. I was like, hi, my name is Xandra. This is what I do. Here's my resume. Here's a clip of me on the Ellen Show. Here is a monologue of me as Joyce. Here's everything you need to consider me for this event. Got like a vague response back. I'm like, okay. I must have sent 4 follow-up emails. Never heard anything. Wow. And I was like, okay, well, I'm still going to buy a ticket to go because it's a Stranger Things event and it's happening 20 minutes from my house. Obviously, right. I want to go. And also, my mom had gotten the ticket. She's from the East Coast, so she came in from out of town because, and we went together because at the time, there was like a wait list for tickets. So just in case I did get in, she wanted to be able to come and see me and have the ticket secured and be able to. So I ended up going 2 nights in a row, actually. One night with my mom and then one night with Pete. And when we got there, it was, the choices they made were interesting. I thought the beginning of the event was really good. It was really interactive with the kids running around, and it was super fun. They cast great people to play the kids, especially. The middle section seemed to drag on for a little bit. There was like 15 to 20 minute section that was just screens. And I was like, okay, this is a Netflix event. Clearly you have the budget to do big things. Why are we just sitting and looking at screens for so long, you know?
Yeah, it's like the dark hallways that Halloween Horror Nights has every once in a while. It's like, what's this?
The equivalent of the black hallways.
Yes.
So then the end was good. I thought the ending with Billy and 11 and all that was great. But they just didn't have Joyce in it at all.
Well, maybe that's why you never heard back.
She was not in any of the videos. She wasn't mentioned. She was not in it. Nancy and Jonathan weren't in it at all.
Yeah.
And Erica wasn't in it. Lucas's sister, which I was more surprised about than anything.
Yeah.
Because she's with Steve and Robin and Dustin the whole time, and they were in it. So why wasn't Erica?
Exactly.
So it was. I'm glad we got the experience to go. It did bring up fun memories. We dressed up for it as our characters.
Yeah.
To just kind of take us back and have fun. We had some really fun interactions with the cast. And I'm glad that they were able to do something like this during these times. But I wish they would have made some other choices. And that's how
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure they don't design these kind of things normally. It's not like a hot maze.
It's actually based on an event, same production company and everything that happened in person in the UK last year. That was a walkthrough, and you got to walk through all the scenes, and they had like 50 characters and an ensemble, and it was this amazing thing.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a bummer because I feel like without the mess, that's what we would have gotten over here.
Shame, timing.
That's what they were going for, and that was the plan. But then with everything,
they had to make it a drive-through.
Yeah. So I'm gonna forever be bummed that we didn't get that.
Yeah. That sucks. Oh well, I'm glad you at least did it, because I think you would have regretted more that you didn't go than going and having it not be what you expected. Yeah, great question, Carlos.
That was a good one.
I need food, and I said it would only be an hour, but it's closer to 2 hours. Actually, it is over 2 hours. So, wow, time flies. My God. Thanks for being here, you guys. Do you have any like advice to give people who are interested in scare acting before you go? And I will give you more time to promote everything again.
Yeah, no, I think my biggest advice is just when you're in that audition, commit and show them that you're going to commit no matter what role you're going for. If you're going for a wolf or a vampire or a creepy kid or Joyce or whatever role you want, go in and unapologetically commit, because they're going to see it, and it's going to those big acting choices catch their eye. They don't want to see that you're timid. They don't want to know, oh, how are they going to attack? Commit fully, even if you think you look stupid, because that's what's going to get you cast.
And they are most likely going to throw curveballs at you. There's no way to fully prepare for an audition, so take those curveballs and go with it. And that's to follow up with your commit thing. Like, they'll just like throw a character your way that you've never done. You're like, Sweet, got this. Go for it. They just want to see you try. They want to see you shine.
Yeah.
Go for it. That's great advice. Pete, anything from you?
My advice, at least what I experienced with my audition, I've only had one of these auditions, so I'm not the best source of knowledge for this, but
you've experienced it, and that's
I've
what matters.
experienced it.
Yeah.
So if, like, let's say you're middle of the pack in terms of like going through the audition drills, I guess you could call them.
Yeah.
Figure out what everyone else is doing. They're pretty much going to follow a similar thing. Do the opposite. Whatever, like if everyone's like just jumping into what we had to do was scare the cones. If everyone's running up and aggressively, you know, yeah, they're committing and they're trying to scare the cones, but everyone's doing that. So instead of jumping in and trying to scare the cones right away, take your time with it. Have a little bit of fun. And, you know, go slow and jump back and forth between different cones and treat every cone different. You could try, you know, be a psychopath on one, be a murderous killer on the other, and then just be really creepy but not necessarily scary towards the third one.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And just, I guess, I don't know, variety stands out.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
What they're looking for in those scare the cone moments, it could be a chair, it could be any object, but the most common one is like a safety cone, like from the road. What they're looking for is are you able to scare? Like, do you have the commitment to go and scare? To B, I forgot what I said for the first one. My brain is fried. Sorry. Don't touch the cone. The cone represents a guest.
Yeah.
If you touch it, you're out immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, not sorry. Don't touch the cone. And also just how creative you could get with your scares. Best advice, to piggyback off what you said, Pete, absolutely change up your pace. Because that can create a jump scare in front of them. If you're moving slowly toward them and you make this like eerie look at them, it starts to slowly affect them. And then you switch up your movement last second, that creates a jump scare. Rather than just coming at them, then it's just like, yeah, you get the scare, but it's not going to leave as much of an effect as if you took that moment, really connected with them. You're like, you're my target. And now I'm over here. Like,
Yeah.
So switch up your movement, switch up your pacing. Don't touch the cone. That's what they're looking for. Oh, and commitment. Of course.
Yes.
I full on fell in one of my auditions and I still got cast. So
There
I
you go.
committed and I tumbled out of it, which means I didn't touch the guest. I instead took that fall and was able to tumble out of it safely. I think that's what they saw.
Exactly.
I hope that's what they saw. I got cats anyway. It doesn't matter. So don't fall if you could help it. But yeah, just be different. Also, yes, switch up what you're doing from everyone else. Do not be a zombie.
No.
Do not drag your foot. Especially for Halloween Horror Nights. Someone else said this before in another interview, but I'm going to say it again because it's super important that people know this. If you are auditioning for Halloween Horror Nights in front of Scott, specifically, it's an automatic no from him if he sees anyone drag their foot. Unless, like, you have an actual injury. But if it's, like, you're a zombie and you're dragging a foot, automatic no. Don't do it. Be more creative. Don't hurt your ankle. But yeah, I think that's good advice for now. Pace yourself, hydrate, all that fun stuff. We're going to do some closing remarks and promotions. Xandra has a musical coming out that we were talking about before when the raid started. So if you are part of the raiders, here it is again. If you want to talk about.
So if you are a fan of Stranger Things, if you're a fan of musicals, or if you are just looking for a way to support the arts and theater after these crazy, unprecedented times, please join us in person in our limited audience, or especially online on May 15th at 7 o'clock. It's going to be a preview performance of my all-original, brand new musical adaptation of Stranger Things. It's the first musical version of it that isn't a parody. So we explore a lot of the deeper moments of the show, the emotional side, the scary parts. My best friend, who I mentioned earlier, who worked at HHN the year before me, is actually in it playing the Demogorgon too. So we have some scare actor creature elements in it. It's going to be a really great time. Lots of scare actor alumni are in it. If you love the 80s, Stranger Things, musicals, all of the above, definitely come and support us. It's going to be a great time. And all of the information for that is going to be on our social media pages.
And I have the links underneath me here on Twitch. It's Stranger Things the Musical on Instagram and Stranger Things Musical without the on TikTok, right? Cool.
All of the information for how you'll be able to secure a seat is going to be on there. And the best part is it's entirely free.
Woo!
Yeah.
Well, I definitely gotta sign up because I like to support my
please.
friends.
We would love to have you.
Yes. Yee. But yeah, anything else you'd like to promote while we have the time? You good?
I'm mostly just do car and motorcycle content, but if you're interested in any of that, you can find me at Peter_D_Rich on Instagram, as well as Incendium Films on YouTube, where I do all of the car and motorcycle content. It's probably easier to just search Cars and Chaos, or Incendium Films, and you can find me and my videos there, and that's primarily what I do. It's car and motorcycle content, and yeah, so
awesome. All right, well, I'm gonna take a minute for my own shameless self promos. So, hi, this has been Scareactor Stories. Thank you so much for joining. Please follow me here on Twitch if you don't do so already. It is absolutely free and it helps me out a lot. Also, YouTube. Subscribe to YouTube, once again, absolutely free. I have a lot of scare actor content there. Instagram and Discord, those are the most important places to follow me if you are interested in future streams or whatever content I have, because that's where you're going to get the most up-to-date updates and all those things. And then last but not least, TikTok. I'm on TikTok. I tell Scareactor Stories. Yeah, a lot of stuff. Find me on all the things. I'm easy to find. But thank you so much for joining. Have a lovely Saturday. I will give you guys a more personal goodbye after I say goodbye to the stream. But yeah, thanks so much for being here, you guys. Thanks so much for everyone in the chat. Have a great Saturday. Be sure to follow Stranger Things the Musical.
yes.
Please. They worked so freaking hard. So yeah, thanks so much, everyone. Have a good night. See you tomorrow.